This is Raven Moon with your astrology forecast for the 20th to the 26th of April 2026. If everything feels like it's accelerating, it is not in your head. This week runs on Mercury's electricity. Quick thoughts, quick tongues, quicker consequences. The mental tempo increases, the patience threshold drops, and the universe quietly removes the buffer between what you think and what you say. Conversations sharpen, decisions arrive with urgency. Even your inner monologue may feel like it's talking over itself. And Mercury is not acting alone. Venus shifts the way you relate and what you want. Uranus adds surprise turns and sudden insight. Pluto applies pressure exactly where you've been clinging to an old definition of security. Put it together, and the week becomes a crash course in adaptability. Not chaotic for chaos's sake, but change that demands you stay awake. The headline is simple. Your mind is leading the week, but your values are quietly rewriting the script underneath it. So you might begin convinced that you know what's true, what's necessary, what's next, only to realize by the weekend that the deeper question isn't whether you're right, it's whether the life you're defending still fits the version of you that is emerging. This is not a week to run on autopilot. It's a week to notice what you protect, what you argue for, what you call safe, and what you're still keeping out of habit, even when it stopped feeling alive. So here's how it unfolds. Monday, April the 20th, the straight talk test. Mercury is conjunct Saturn in Aries. Mercury is conjunct Mars in Aries. Monday has the emotional texture of a quick message that turns into a full-scale debate in 3 sentences. Mercury in Aries wants speed and honesty with no extra packaging. Saturn adds gravity and consequence. Mars adds heat and fight. This is a day when people speak like they're in a hurry to be understood, and sometimes in a hurry to win. It can show up as intense meetings, direct feedback, blunt text, and the sudden compulsion to say things you've been holding back. There's a real power here. It's excellent for clarity, tough decisions, leadership conversations, and cutting through mental fog. But there's a trap. Urgency can masquerade as truth. Just because a thought shows up loud doesn't mean it's wise. And just because you say it doesn't mean you should say it that way. Use this energy like a tool, not a weapon. Precision over performance, intention over impulse. The goal isn't to soften the truth until it disappears. It is to deliver it so it actually changes something. What helps will be to pause long enough to choose impact. Read the email twice. Let your nervous system settle before you hit send. Say the hard thing like someone building a bridge, not lighting a match. Tuesday and Wednesday, the 21st and 22nd of April. This is Cancer moon weather. After Monday's mental heat, the moon in Cancer turns the focus inward. The volume drops, but the feelings come up. Not just today feelings, old feelings, stored feelings, feelings with memory and mood and meaning. This is the part of the week where people get protective, tender, nostalgic, easily bruised, and unusually alert to tone. You may crave comfort, home, familiar routines, or emotional reassurance. You might realize you're not reacting to what's happening now. You're reacting to what it reminds you of. The gift is emotional intelligence. The challenge is letting emotion quietly take over the steering wheel. Cancer moon days ask for care that's real, not performative. Rest that restores you, not avoidance dressed as healing. There's a big difference between honoring your feelings and making them the authority on every decision. What helps is telling the truth about what you need. Feed yourself. Clean your space. Check in with your body. Reach for support without testing people's love through silence. And if you catch yourself replaying a minor interaction like it's evidence of a larger betrayal, that's your cue to breathe and return to the present moment. Thursday, 23rd of April. Desire gets a shock of truth. Venus is conjunct Uranus in Taurus. Thursday is a curveball. or snaps, or wakes up. This transit can bring surprise connections, sudden cravings, unexpected money movement, aesthetic urges, or an abrupt realization that your comfort zone has been or has become a beautifully furnished cage. It's not necessarily about breaking everything. It's about recognizing what you've been tolerating just because it's familiar. This is Taurus, learning that stability isn't the same thing as stagnation. The best way to work with this is flexible honesty. Don't panic and blow up your whole life because you're restless. But also don't ignore the signal if something in you is done seeking for stale safety. What helps is to watch your spending patterns, especially relief purchases. Refresh your environment. Make small changes that honor growth. Stay open to different forms of connection. Let the jolt of insights inform your next steps, not dictate an impulsive finale. Friday, the 24th of April, Venus in Gemini. The social spark returns. Venus enters Gemini. Friday shifts the vibe. Venus in Gemini brings lightness, curiosity, humor, and social momentum. Desire becomes mental. Chemistry lives in conversation. Attraction shows up through wit and ideas. Less candlelit devotion, more we talked for hours and now my brain is floating. This transit is great for meeting people, reconnecting, writing, networking, brainstorming, and remembering that not everything has to be intense to be meaningful. The shadow side is scattering your attention, confusing banter for intimacy, or using humor as a shield against vulnerability. The deeper lesson of Venus in Gemini is this: curiosity can build closeness if it eventually becomes honesty. What helps is to reach out, ask better questions, share something interesting, let the conversation open doors. Just don't mistake mental stimulation for emotional availability until you've seen consistency. Saturday, the 25th of April. This is pressure from the future. Sun is in Taurus, square Pluto in Aquarius. Uranus enters Gemini. Saturday is the pivot. Taurus wants peace, predictability, and steady ground. Pluto in Aquarius wants evolution, truth, and transformation, even if it costs comfort. And Uranus entering Gemini signals a larger shift around information, communication, technology, and the speed of change. This is not subtle. This is the kind of energy that exposes where you've outgrown your habits, your coping strategies, your relationship to control, and your definition of safe. It can show up as a power struggle, a technology issue, an intense internal realization, or a moment when you see exactly what your resistance is costing you. The question isn't how do I stop change? The question is why am I trying to control because it's meaningful? And what am I controlling because uncertainty scares me? What helps is to update the outdated thing. Learn the new system. Fix the stubborn pattern. Choose adaptation over nostalgia. The future isn't knocking politely this week. It's already inside, rearranging the furniture. Sunday, the 26th of April. This is inspiration, romance, and the exaggeration trap. Venus is in Gemini, sextile Neptune in Aries. Mercury in Aries is square Jupiter in Cancer. Sunday has a cinematic glow and a dramatic volume knob. Venus sextile Neptune brings sweetness, imagination, artistry, and the desire to say something beautiful. Mercury square Jupiter inflates everything. Opinions expand, feelings amplify, certainty gets louder than accuracy. This can be a gorgeous day for art, writing, music, spiritual reflection, and romantic connection. It can also be a day where you overpromise, overshare, overreact, or build a whole storyline from one charged conversation. Sunday's lesson: intensity is not proof. Emotion is not evidence. Chemistry is not a contract. What helps is to let inspiration move through you, but keep one foot on the ground. Enjoy the magic without turning it into mythology. Speak your truth, but check whether it's insight or emotion with a microphone. Create, flirt, dream, connect. Then reality check the story you're telling yourself. Keep the poetry, lose the inflation. This week asks you to grow without hardening, to adapt without self-abandonment, and to tell the truth without turning every conversation into a battlefield. Your mind is fast. Your desires are shifting. Your concept of stability is being updated in real time. That's not a breakdown. That's movement. You don't need every answer by the end of the week. You just need to notice what's changing and stop forcing the old